warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let's introduce myself and my partner. My name is Rahayu and my partner name is Nabela, Nurul Afrina and Berlyani Agusta. Well, we would like to present about industrial structure. The first presenter by me. Check it out. Okay everyone, a country can produce many different and diverse types of goods and service ranging from the production of cars to the delivery of leisure service to farming. The mix of this and the combination of industries that exist to produce them is called the industrial structure of a country. There are likely to be a large differences in industrial structure between countries for many reasons. This chapter will look at the industry structure of the European Union as a trading bloc and the United Kingdom in particular. There is a need for the industrial structure of a country to be measured in some way so that changes over time can be identified and international comparisons made. So everyone, moving the next slide. The Standard Industrial Classification. The Standard Industrial Classification, or SIC, of economic activity is the official classification of industries in the United Kingdom into different sectors. It was introduced in 1948 and has been updated and changed on occasion to take account of the development of new products and industries for producing those products. It was changed in 1980 mainly in order to bring the United Kingdom classification in line with the activity classification used by the Statistical Office of the European Communities, which is called Nomenclature General des Activités Économiques des Les Communautés Européennes, or NACA. The next point about the structure of industry. The process of production. Entrepreneurship is the process of bringing together the other factors in order to produce goods and service. A firm products goods and service because they are demand and because a profit can be earned by selling them. Example, car manufacturer. The car manufacturer can be thought of as being in the center of a process of production which links together raw materials at one end with the consumer at the other end. The raw materials are extracted and processed and then the finished goods and sold. So everyone, this is picture table 10.1. The 1980 SIC is shown in table 10.1. The 1980 classification had 10 divisions denoted by a single digit. Each of these is divided into class 2 digits, which in turn are divided into groups 3 digits and activity headings 4 digits. In total, there are 10 divisions, 60 classes, 222 groups, and 334 activity headings. Okay everyone, the next point I over to Nabela. Times is yours.
Thank you, Rahayu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nabela and I would like to continue explain about this topic. Problems in classifying industries. Firms could be grouped together according to similarities in what they produce, but some firms produce a range of goods for quite different markets. Firms could be grouped together according to what they do, so that if their production and processes are similar, they could be considered as part of the same industry. The service industries are particularly problematic as they have traditionally been defined by the function they perform, but developments in technology have led to these functions overlapping and therefore becoming more difficult to distinguish. Sebagai contoh, penerbitan dan pencetakan. Jadi ini mengarah ke industri yang beragam, tapi dikelompokkan bersama di dalam SIC atau Standard Industrial Classification. Walaupun SIC tidak bisa menyelesaikan masalah dalam classifying industry. Tapi klasifikasi ini diterima di industri dan bisa digunakan untuk berbagai tujuan. Informasi yang dikumpulkan dalam SIC ini bisa digunakan untuk membandingkan struktur industri dari satu negara ke negara lain dan dari waktu ke waktu. And then, measures industrial structure. The structure of industry in a country is not static, and it changes over time for a variety of reasons. For example, the development of new products means that new industries come into existence. Contohnya, penemuan dan inovasi dari permainan elektronik. New patterns of demand means that some industries will be declining while others become increasingly important. And then change in society will be reflected in industrial structure. And in this slide, we have industrial structure in the European Union and industrial structure in the United Kingdom. Dalam topik ini, kami akan membahas tentang struktur industri di Uni Eropa dan struktur industri di Inggris Raya. So, for industrial structure in the European Union, figure 10.3 shows the industrial structure in the European Union as a whole as measured by employment in 1979 and 2004. During the 1980s, there was a 20% fall in the level of employment in agriculture, and 14% fall in the level of manufacturing employment, and a 15% rise in employment in the service sector. In 2004, 5% of the working population of the European Union was employed in agriculture, 20% in industry, and 70% in services. So there has been a gradual trend away from employment in the primary and industrial sector in the European Union as a whole and a gradual rise in employment in the service sector. And figure 10.4, jadi pada gambar 10.4 menunjukkan perubahan dalam ukuran relatif ketiga sektor tersebut selama periode 1980 hingga 2004. Tren yang ditampilkan di Uni Eropa terbukti di industri maju lainnya. Tabel 10.4 menunjukkan bahwa meskipun terdapat beberapa perbedaan dalam struktur industri antar negara, sektor tersebut dalam semua kasus lebih dominan dalam hal ketenaga kerjaan. Dalam Uni Eropa, Inggris Raya memiliki sektor pertanian yang lebih kecil dari negara-negara yang ada di Uni Eropa lainnya atau rata-rata yang ada di Uni Eropa. Sedangkan Jerman memiliki sektor produksi terbesar. Anggota baru Uni Eropa akan diberlakukan angka-angka ini karena banyak yang memiliki struktur industri yang berbeda dari anggota yang ada. Polandia dan Lituania misalnya memiliki 18% populasi yang dipekerjakan di sektor pertanian pada tahun 2003. And then for industrial structure in the UK, as you can see in figure 10.5 shows a graph of employment in manufacturing in 4 countries over the period 1974 to 2002. It is clear from this graph that the decline in employment in manufacturing has been much greater in the United Kingdom than the others. The United Kingdom started from a much higher base in 1974 and in 2002 had the lowest level of employment in manufacturing except for Japan, which has experienced a sharp economic slump. Jadi pada gambar 10.5 menunjukkan grafik pekerjaan di bidang manufaktur di 4 negara selama periode 1974 dan 2002 hingga 2002. Jelas dari grafik ini bahwa penurunan lapangan kerja di bidang manufaktur jauh lebih besar di Inggris daripada di negara lain. Britania Raya mulai dari basis yang jauh lebih tinggi pada tahun 1974 dan pada tahun 2002 memiliki tingkat pekerjaan terendah di bidang manufaktur, kecuali Jepang yang mengalami kemerosotan ekonomi yang tajam. Okay, that's all my presentation about this topic, and the next presenter is Nurul Afrina. To her, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nurul Afrina. I came to explain about cases of change in industrial structure. Demand factor. Changing patterns of demand will cause change in the structure of industry. Demand will change as a result of change in tastes and fashion. Changes in the structure of the population. and change in the level of income. As income increases, there is normally an increase in total spending on goods and services, but there will be differences between different types of goods. There will be relatively large increases in expenditure on goods which have high income elasticity of demand and relatively small increases or even falls in demand for other goods. Supply factor. Changes in industrial structure can also be triggered by change in supply condition. The oil crisis of the 1970s is a good example of this. As a result of the massive increase in oil prices, there was a concerted campaign to reduce the consumption of oil and a research for other forms of energy. Technological change gave rise to new products and or new process of production. The industrialization, crowding out. The argument here is that the growth in the size of the public sector has been at the expense of the private sector. The resources that could have been used to expand the private sector have instead been used in the public sector, so that the public sector has crowded out the private sector. To productivity. In terms of productivity, the UK has not performed as well as other countries, as the mini case studies show. Low productivity has implications for international competitiveness. Okay, next, international competition. Because of competition from both the developed world and the developing world, where wage rates are lower than UK rates. The United Kingdom has lost market at how much demand for goods and services is met by imports. Internationally, the United Kingdom has lost market too, as the level of its export has fallen. Specialization. The United Kingdom tends to specialize in sectors which do not have great export potential. Its percentage shares in sectors like electrical equipment, computer and transport equipment are less than the EU average. Research and development. In the United Kingdom, the proportion of spending on research and development has not changed very much over the last 2000 years. The educational system. The educational system in the United Kingdom is said to be based toward the art and pure sciences rather than applied scientific, engineering and business type subjects. Level and type of investment. The level of investment in the United Kingdom is low. Non-price factor. Non-price factor include quality, design and after-sales service. Skill shortages in manufacturing. Even in times of high employment, there are still skill shortages. That's all my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay guys, I'm Berlyani Agusta and I would like to continue talking about the decline in the importance of manufacturing. Let's start it. The financial system, it is often argued that the UK banks are less supportive of business and than banks in other countries. In the United Kingdom, banks tend to offer only short-term to medium-term finance for industry. The only long-term finance will be in the form of mortgage. In the other countries, banks are large providers of long-term finance to industry through the purchase of stock and shares. And the next, lack of qualified manager. It is argued that manufacturing has not recruit the best qualified candidates for management, although the management training can overcome this to some extent. And next, North Sea oil. The existence of North Sea oil has had a mixed effect to the United Kingdom. On the one hand, it has led to inflow of cash which has helped the balance of payment, but it also served to keep an exchange rate of the pound higher than it would have been to its absence. Government policy during the 1980s, the United Kingdom government repeated the argument that the decline in manufacturing was not important. It was seen as a working the market mechanism and was to be replaced by service. The government therefore took a relaxed view of the decline. In the early 1980s, the adherence to a strict monetary policy of high interest and cutbacks in government expenditure all contribute to the decline in the manufacturing. Okay, next about synopsis. Industrial structure refers to the relative size of the different industry in the economy. From are grouped together into industries and industries, are grouped together into sector in some way. Although this is often difficult to do. The government has an official standard industrial classification which has been changed to bring it in line with the EU classifications. The industrial structure of country and the way it changes depend upon many factors, most of which have been considered in this chapter. Okay, next, summary of key points. The first about each country has a particular mix of primary, secondary, tertiary sector which make up industrial structure. And the second about over the last 100 years, there has been a shift industrial structure in all countries, firstly from agriculture to manufacturing and then from manufacturing to service. And the third about this shift has taken place both in terms of employment and output. And next about change in demand are one the major cause of change in industrial structure as evidenced by the case study. And the next about supply factor like technological change are also important in the process of change. And the next about the decline in manufacturing has been termed the industrialization and this process has been particularly pronounced in the UK. The next, this is the last about recent put forward for this include crowding out, productivity, investment, research and development, and educational system and the high value of the pound. So that's all explanation for me. Thank you.